Hello folks, Nile Creek Fly Shop here. Today I'm going to tie a very simple and very effective tube fly. And it's basically for steelhead, although salmon will grab it. The components are very easy to use, very easy to access, nothing too crazy. So I'm going to start off with a dubbing loop. And I'm going to dub in some ice dub. Just a pink color. Nice dubbing spinner. I like using loops. Some people don't use loops. They like to use wax and all that stuff. Well, you can, but when you're dubbing in this longish fiber, it doesn't wax up too nicely. So there's a nice little bit here. Yeah, that should be enough. What I'm trying to do with this is make a bump at the back end, and then I'm going to put a bump on the back like this. Pull this over a little bit so I can grab it. Push it up. Spin, spin, spin. There. Now I'll grab my hackle pliers that I like to do. Just grab this, cut this, get this dubbing tool out of the way, and I'll wrap a few times, get this thread up here just out of the way. As I wrap, of course, you always pull back. I'm going to brush this also. There. So I'm just trying to create a nice little bump. It doesn't have to be a big darn bump, just a little one. And I'm using nano thread. I like this nano silk. It's small, super strong, and very, very efficient. And efficiency is really important. So you can see I got a little bump laying down. Let's just brush that up. There's the brush. The brushes come in different shapes and forms. You can use Velcro and all that stuff. There we are. Let's just bring out the dubbing. Bring it out, make it bold. There we are. Now there we have a nice little, just a nice little bump. I'm going to tie in some Marabou. There we are. Pink. Very colorful. This fly, very colorful. You'd be surprised what all these colors do. Now, we see these colors differently than fish see these colors. So you can see how strong this nano thread is? Wow, it's pretty cool shit. Now, just palmer this in. This is just going to give me a little bit of little fibers coming over my rear bump. You might call this a two-stage intruder, if you wish. There. It's a fairly long fly. And again, I'm going to force that back a little bit. Take this cone out of here, that's going to be finishing off. Because I'm not using any body weight on this fly, there we are. There we are. Just a little bit of life at the end of the fly, at the back of the fly, and that's the part of the fly that the fish sees. Next, I'm going to lay in my wrap. I'm going to be putting on a wrap, a body wrap, a UV tinsel type wrap. So bring this forward. This is a purple, holographic purple Mylar. This will be my wrapping on top of my Lagerton type material. It is actually Lagerton. Flat braid. It's a flat braid. So you notice that I like to wrap my material onto the tube body twice. I come up and back, and then I come up and back. Now normally I will wrap over like so, but this time I'm going to wrap this from the opposite direction that I normally don't wrap most of my materials. It's okay, I like that, because when I put the other accent on, the purple accent, it will help set this flat braid so it doesn't unwrap. So when I wrap my accent, it will be going across the grain, which is really what I want. The nano silk will really force this down. There we are. Now I'll take my purple and just gently try to evenly space my wrap forward. Just so when the fish looks through, or I look through, or somebody else looks through, they can see the body all candy-caned up. There we are. Now this fly at this moment does not have any weight to it. This will just float away down the river and not be noticed by anything other than a seagull or an eagle going by. And that's not really what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to put, we're going to do another little bit of dubbing, and then we're going to put on a brass cone that has a built-in bump system on it. So, first, dubbing loop. See how nice and sparse and thin this thread is. It's pretty cool, pretty nice stuff. And let's go to my spinner. Put a little bit of dubbing in there. Put it. The dubbing is purple. There you see the color blend. I want the color blend in there. There. Normally I try to limit the time that I do these patterns, but there. And you can spin to the right or you can spin to the left. I always do the left, but that's just me. And you can spin it a lot, and by spinning a lot you will actually really reduce the bulk on this. But I do want to build a little bit of a bump, so I want this to be fairly hefty. Get my thread out of here, move it forward a little bit, and then I'm just going to put this on. So you can see how already I got that second stage bumped. That's at stage 2. And again, I will brush it out. Now the reason I went to the dark color in here is because this fly has got a lot of light colors. Peat, pink, shell pink, a little accent of red. And I want to see something dark in there. There you go. I could have used more dubbing, but I don't want it. I don't need more dubbing. There's my little bump. Just a little bump. Don't need a big bump. Then I'm going to slide on my river bum brass accessory. And I'll take my nano thread and I'm going to wrap right in front of that. I don't care about the thread going across. Here we are. Now, a little bit of red. I've already selected my marabou. I like to tie my marabou in from the stem. I find the longest fibers first. As you notice, I always wrap a bit of the marabou itself when I lock it in. That way, less likely to have it falling out. I don't want a lot. I don't need much. So you can see how it's going to flare with that brass flare. There we are. Again, I said I don't need much, and I'm still on top of the brass. No problem. Now, let's lock that damn thing in. And as with all marabou or rabbit, you got to lick your fingers to get the stuff to lay down for you. There. Now, there we are. And thus the need for good scissors. Whoop. It's okay, I know where it is. Now I'm going to tie in my shell pink. Yeah, this one. One of my very favorite colors, especially for steelhead. And again, we don't need much. Just a little bit. There. Now that is pretty cool. Now, if this is supposed to represent some flesh or something going by, it's doing the job very well. So now you can see there's a little bit of weight in there. Just a little bit. It's brass. Yeah, it's brass. Granted. Pull that back and try to lock it down a bit. Gotta leave room for my cone. There we are. Now a little bit of flash. And I'm using some flashabou. About 6 strands. That we can thin out as we go. I'm gonna wet it a bit. And wet it a bit. And then we'll just open that up a bit. We don't want too much. We can cut the length as we need it after. Rotate, bring that stuff up and around. Wet it. Wet it. There we are. Beautiful. That's a pretty nice fly. So you can see the effect of that dark inside. Almost like an eye. A big shrimp eye looking out at you. Prawns, shrimp. Now, to finish it off, 2 steps more. I selected some Grizzly saddle. Just a couple, I don't want a whole bunch. Everybody likes Grizzly saddle. Whoop, there we are, there's one. Let's get rid of that extra stuff. Never forget your super glue. Push it in with my thumb and lock it in. Cut. Done. Almost done, folks. Mind me for farting around here. There. Okay, so super glue time. A little whip finish. You can use your fingers. You can use your whip finisher. Whatever you want. There we are. Make sure you super glue this. I like to use super glue. Many people like to use head cement. Not good enough for these types of flies. Look at that. That's a pretty cool fly. Yes, I've gone a little longer than I normally do, but that's okay. You guys deserve it. That is very nice, folks. Now, being a tube fly, it's going to be very easy to slide on my cone, and it should come over all the thread, like so. Yes. Now I'm going to cut, I push it, I'm going to cut and leave about 1/8 of an inch. If I can find my lighter, which is under the Marabou, I'll melt that up. And I see the, there we are, look at that. Done. What do you think, folks? Pretty sexy fly, isn't it? I think so. The fish will think so. And it's going to be hydrodynamic because it's a tungsten bead. It will take it down and it'll do this dipping and diving. Thanks, folks. Tight lines, and see you again.